Hi Kansas City, welcome to Here in KC, the show that is transmitted through TELEVIDA by EXO Films. And I'm really excited for our guest today. She is a local dancer from here, KC. Her name is Danielle Lucia Correa. And welcome, Danielle.
Thanks
How
for
are you?
having me. I'm good. How are you?
Good. Can you go ahead and just give us a little bit of a background about yourself?
Yes, of course. I was born right here in Kansas, actually in Lawrence, Kansas, but I've grown up pretty much all over, and I currently live in Kansas City. But my dad is from Bogota, Colombia, so that's where I get my Latin side from.
Which hits my heart because I'm from Bogota, Colombia as well.
We're family. And then my mom is actually from here, from Kansas, and they met here, but she's Native American, so I'm kind of right down the middle.
Yeah, 50-50, lots of culture.
Yeah.
So at what age did you begin to dance?
Oh man, right at the womb. Yeah, I mean, we've got home videos of me dancing since I could start walking. Actually, my dad used to hide a camera on the dining room table, point it to the living room, and then put on like Selena soundtrack.
Selena.
Yeah, and or like Space Jam soundtrack.
Space Jam, going back.
Yeah. And I would just go crazy, go ham in the living room. And I guess when I was little, I hated my dad for making the videos, but now, you know, as a dancer, I go back and laugh at it. But yeah, ever since I could walk, really.
And now you can kind of look at your experience, where
you
are
see
now.
My progress, you know.
Your progress, where you started with your 2 steps.
Yeah.
So do you have a style of dance that you gravitate towards?
Definitely salsa. I feel like I've been dancing that the longest. I learned from my dad, I learned from my uncles, and I learned from my aunts. All of my family, whenever we would get together, we were always dancing. So I definitely gravitate more towards salsa. I get really passionate when I'm dancing it the most. So it's definitely my favorite.
And I've been in a lot of your classes where we've done salsa fusion.
That's where we met,
Yes, and your choreography is so beautiful. I mean, it's an art, of course, with a lot of experience.
I really appreciate that.
So what inspires you now to dance? Like, what gets you moving? What inspires you to create?
Well, what inspires me to dance is definitely, oh man, sorry.
No, yeah.
What inspires me to dance, I think, is being progressive. I'm a really competitive person by nature, and as a dancer, you never stop learning, and you never stop getting better. So I think what inspires me to dance is just trying to be the best that I can, and then turning around and being able to show it or teach it, and feeling really good about it. I just love it. I feel really true to myself when I'm dancing, and I feel really close to everybody around me when I'm dancing. So
I mean, it's definitely a talent that you build on. So learning, I mean, just having that drive to learn, I think for anything, it's always really important. So since we mentioned that I've been to some of your classes, which is kind of where we met, where do you draw that inspiration or the creativity to create your choreography? Because I've said it's beautiful. I mean, it's fun. Sometimes it's sexy. So what draws that inspiration?
Well, when I first started dancing, especially choreography, I was not very good at it at all. And that actually really irritated me because sometimes I just wouldn't get the hook of it, you know, or the feel of it. And so that competitiveness, like I was talking about, really just drove me to dance more and to learn more choreography and to really feel comfortable. Practice makes perfect, and it didn't happen overnight. It took years, but I knew that if I just put out my heart into it, I'd be able to get it. So I took a lot of classes here in Kansas City for choreo, even in other states, you know, just learning. And when I started to do my own choreo, which was very difficult to start with. I just knew that I wanted it to be natural. I wanted it to be different. and I wanted it to be really true to myself. I wanted it to look like, you know, me.
Right.
Because that's where the creativity comes from. So when I'm building my choreography, I really keep that in mind. What does the music say to me naturally? How does my body move? And then I just practice. And like I said, I want it to be different. So I really keep my mind on that.
Because I think what's fascinating is that, like I keep mentioning, that your class is on there, that you know, for somebody like me that has never taken any classes to dance, I mean, you show up and you're so energetic and you go from different levels. I mean, teaching is natural to you.
Thank you.
But yeah, anybody who can walk in there with high experience or maybe never set a foot in a studio before, but you make it fun and you pace it to where it's enjoyable for everyone. So
yes, thank you. That was actually my whole goal to begin with when I started teaching. I wanted anybody to come in, experienced dancers, people who've never moved before, or people who just wanted, you know, some fun exercise, just movement. You know, I wanted to cater to everyone because I feel like everybody should be able to dance, and they shouldn't have to feel intimidated or worried that they're gonna have to, you know, impress anything. You know, it's just all about you. So I try to cater to everybody in my class.
Especially during this pandemic as well, it's really helped as an outlet, you know, because I've brought friends of mine, and it's definitely an experience, you know, whether you go by yourself or you bring your girlfriends there. It's always fun. But do you want to show us a video of you dancing and just kind of give the audience a little bit of what they could see?
Yeah, videos of my class.
Perfect.
Definitely.
Okay, well, let's show them a little bit about what Danielle Correa is. Okay. Welcome back. That was beautiful. I mean, I've seen you in person, I've seen your videos. I mean, clearly your talent is out of this world.
Thank you.
And I appreciate you, of course, being here. I do have one question that, of course, it wouldn't be right if I didn't ask.
Sure.
As far as how has the pandemic affected you during these classes personally, or just, you know, in general with your dance classes?
Yeah, I feel like the pandemic really affected everybody in just tremendous ways. You know, I went from taking classes every week, teaching every week, even multiple times a week, to nothing at all. And it was really damaging. You know, especially I had talked to other dancers, and as a dancer, you really thrive with being around other people and really absorbing their energy. You could dance around in your room all you want, but it's just different when you're with your friends.
Right.
So for me, not teaching my class really was just really sad for me, and it took a long time for me to figure out what I wanted to do, because going virtual was not easy for me.
A different world.
Yeah, definitely a different world.
As we all know.
Yes, definitely. Having a camera pointed at you is not the easiest thing to do,
right.
But you know, I gave it a go. I did some virtual classes, and I took a few virtual classes too, but I just knew that while I was doing that, like Instagram Lives and stuff like that, while I was doing that, it just really motivated me to, whenever the pandemic would, you know, end or die down, that I would just get right back in there. I wasn't going to waste any time going back to teaching because it was really what I was passionate about. So, you know, we took all the precautions that we needed to be able to open the studio and be able to teach and have classes, you know, limiting personnel and wearing masks. But getting back into the studio was just, I mean, a goal. So the minute we could do it, we did. And so, like I said, it was really difficult, but I just used that as motivation to not stop because I knew it was my passion.
Oh, like, so what drives you, like, with all of these struggles through the pandemic as a dancer, and you seem like you're a go-getter, right? You don't let anything stop you. I mean, you're continuing to dance and kind of be innovative in a way to come up with that. So where does that drive come from?
Really, just it being my passion.
Yeah.
It coming from my heart, it coming so naturally to me that this is really what I love and this is really what I want to do. I just love being able to be around the energy. I really grow off of it. And to see the people have so much joy in dancing and the fact that I'm the one giving it to them, that is just so inspiring to me. And like I said, dancing has always been a part of the family too. So, you know, even my family is a huge motivation for me. My whole family really encourages me to dance, and they've always loved, you know, that I'm a dancer, and they always want to know what I'm doing next. So that's definitely an inspiration for me.
And most of your family isn't here in KC,
Oh,
correct?
yeah, most of it, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, a couple more questions that I have for you. What does the Kansas City community look like for dancers? Like, what does that look as the dance community here in Kansas City?
Well, like any other community, it's always growing, but it could always expand. You know, there are all kinds of different styles in Kansas City, which I truly love.
Okay.
And like there's hip hop, there's crump, there's salsa.
There's crump?
There's crump, yes, there is.
Oh my gosh, I need to take one of those classes.
Oh yeah, I got a class for you, no
Okay.
problem. But you know, there's just so many studios that are just building and bringing in all kinds of different dancers from all over, and you know, it's truly exciting to be a part of a community that's always expanding and a city full of artists who always want to work and always want to do something different. That's another probably thing that really inspires me are my dancer friends, because we're always down for a class. We're always down to dance together, to create together, because like I said, as a dancer, you never stop learning. You never stop wanting to expand. You never stop wanting to challenge yourself. Challenging yourself as a dancer is definitely, you know, the best part about it. So just having so many different outlets in Kansas City, no matter what you want to do, salsa, bachata, hip hop, you know, there's an outlet for it in Kansas City.
Right. In Kansas City, I mean, you mentioned it's growing. It's constantly growing. I moved here about 8 years ago, and you know, every year it just seems like, even through the pandemic, I mean, there's a lot of dancers that have, you know, like you said, remotely have to be innovative and come up with ways to still express the passion through either virtually or whatnot, or make it to where it's safe for everybody in the studio. So I'm just mind blown of how, I mean, your drive and your energy from day one, I've told you, is so captivating.
Thank you.
Because just going to one of her classes is so much fun.
Thank you.
But
Love
I'll just keep complimenting you here and there.
Please, I'm here. I'm here for you.
So what advice would you give the audience, for those little girls watching, or you know, the youth watching, or any dancers that are aspiring to be dancers? What advice would you give them?
Well, all the youth. I mean, everybody. Even not even just the youth. Everybody. No matter your age, your background, your limitations. If you want to dance, never give up. Ever. I mean, I feel like that's really advice for anything in life, is just to never give up.
Yeah.
You know, everything's going to be okay. You know, you live another day, then everything's going to be okay. But honestly, never giving up on your passion, never giving up on your dream, and never letting anybody tell you any different is really the advice I'd give, because if I gave up I wouldn't be here with you, and I wouldn't probably be as happy because I wouldn't be doing what I truly wanted to do. So, you know, never giving up on that dream, and practice makes perfect, really, you know, just because you might have 2 left feet, you know, not you, but, you know, anybody, not you, you're great. But if you have, you know, anything that might make you want to stop, or you might think of it as an excuse, don't let it be your excuse. You know, mind over matter for sure. But whatever brings you joy, you know, go for it. So yeah.
Wow. Well, that was. We need to write all that down. So how has, just a little bit kind of going back into our roots, because before we were talking a little bit about our Colombian background. You're also Native American. Yeah. How does that style growing up in that culture has inspired you? Because I mean, you're teaching salsa classes, you know? Yeah. How has that inspired your classes more?
Yeah. Well, I love being a Latina. That has always been one thing that I love about my family and about my heritage. It is a beautiful thing. But, you know, I wouldn't be dancing salsa if I wasn't, I don't think. You know, it was my family that taught me how to dance. And it was my family that would have, you know, their friends over, and we would just fill the house with salsa music, merengue, bachata, whatever was playing. You know, my family was always dancing, and it was my aunts really that taught me. And so I just feel like because of that, because my childhood was like that, you know, the older I've gotten, the more I really appreciate the culture, and I appreciate the dance itself. Right. And I just love too that with salsa there's always progressive. You know, there's always something to do. There's always something to add, and just flavor and style. And so salsa is definitely a huge key to my heart.
So I mean, I guess we can be honest with ourselves. We can thank our parents for the late night parties, salsa parties.
Oh man, till the sun would come up. Really, we would just be dancing all the time.
I always joke with my mom how she, you know, would always, they would have these parties, and it's typical in our culture. The late night, you know, and dance. That's what we do, dance. Some food, but also dance. But as I got older, my mom was like, you can't stay out too late. You can't do this. And I'm like, you literally, when I was 12 years old, you kept me till 3 in the morning, sunrise, dancing. I'm like,
being at home is different, I guess. Being out is different, but
so family. So I can just invite we can just invite our friends over now.
A house party. It was always in the backyard too. We would have speakers.
Mine was in the basement.
Yeah, basement, backyard. But I mean, we made do on everything. Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for being here. I really appreciate you for being here. And of course, I will continue to show up at your classes, learning more, like you said.
Yes, please.
And you know, if anybody is interested in her classes, you may reach her on Instagram, and it is Danielle.
I'm at Danielle Lucia.
Danielle Lucia. Okay.
Yes.
Well, thank you again, and thank you, Kansas City, for being here and tuning in. And I hope to see you next time.
Yes. Thank you.